Usipige kisonga.
About 2,000 schools in Uganda, but I'm a Kenyan, so it's a very that we have also run a project in South Africa. Here I am, then we have also had, but all that the teacher is teaching. So every lesson is a feedback. We want to work and see what we can do.
Technology, and therefore it's only that the power has just failed on the laptop there.
As educators, we should have been able to get different perspectives in which we can be able to change the future, because we are custodians of the future. As teachers, we are custodians of the future, because we've been given an opportunity to co-create the future by ensuring that the young ones who are given to us are molded so that they can be able to continue with the relay of life. And therefore, it is so proud. This afternoon, I feel proud being among colleagues who are shaping the future of the club.
As we gather here today, our teachers' unions have issued a strike notice, partly on the basis of their legitimate demands that have been made and pledges that have been made. These demands are legitimate, but also the government challenges are legitimate. As I've already indicated, we believe in stakeholder involvement and consultation. Such consultation should be authentic and should take into account all the factors and available evidence and data. And also, it is to be mutual. All stakeholders must therefore be ready to understand and to work together so that we can reach a solution that is for the best benefit or that benefits the child. All the decisions that we make in the sector must be for the interest of the learner. I am confident that despite our present challenges, the government and unions will come together and reach an amicable solution that prioritizes the best interests of the learners. I therefore urge all our unions to give priority to dialogue in order to ensure smooth teaching and learning. And I'm happy to report that there is going to be a meeting tomorrow between the government and the unions to discuss this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, your unions are critical cog in the operation of our education system. In 2019, when we had COVID, we signed as a government with the unions a non-monetary CBA agreement. So I'm confident that even this time, we are going to have a authentic discussion and we'll get a solution. From tomorrow, when we do the discussions, will be able to inform you what we've agreed. On the issue, I know that is challenging to the public as we speak of the new funding model. The funding model has been in existence for 29 years. The only thing that has changed is that the means testing instrument was adjusted and reviewed to ensure that those children who need the government support most benefit most from the government funds. So that children of those who can afford, such as myself, can bear my rightful share of the school burden. And we've created a portal where we've allowed the students to appeal so that if you have data, information to show that you've been put in the wrong band, we are working every single minute to reband you. Because the policy is no child should miss school because of money. We begin with that. So going forward, I can assure the country that within the next few weeks, next few days, we are going to resolve that matter, and each and every child who deserves to be in school will be, because we are doing 100% transition.
But the world is changing, and over the next few days, we will listen to great speakers with huge expertise on how we as leaders of schools around the world can adapt to the developments we face and the challenges of the next generation. Please focus your attention on those ideas you can take action on. And you leave this convention, take at least one thing that you will start doing differently tomorrow.
By fostering critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration, we prepare learners to tackle complex challenges and adapt to an ever-evolving world. In partnership with the Kenya's Ministry of Education, the Teachers Service Commission, and other stakeholders, we are prepared to move forward with a shared commitment to this innovative educational paradigm, championing a system that values competence, fosters growth, and prepare our students to thrive in their future careers.
How are we harnessing artificial intelligence? Is it for the good of our society, our people? Or are we now beginning to face a scenario where artificial intelligence is also being used in the negative way? I'll speak for Kenya. Just a few weeks ago, we saw how the social media and artificial intelligence can be galvanized, mobilized, and weaponized to actually cast hatred amongst each other, to actually generate violent action amongst ourselves, generate destruction, because it happened, and maybe people felt that they were not responsible. So in our educational system and our practice, how do we inculcate the spirit of responsibility amongst the young people that we teach? Let us also take the issue of climate change very seriously. For Kenya, in the last few years, maybe the last two, we had a debilitating drought, the worst in 40 years, and then everything swung like a pendulum, and the next thing we had floods. And our estimate indicates, and this is data that I got from the Ministry of Education, that over 4,000 classrooms were destroyed by the floods during that period. I'm not even talking of the destruction to the bridges and access to schools, to hospitals, and what else was destroyed. But we must also now live with the reality that climate change is also becoming a serious hindrance to education. The theme of this conference, Future Pathways for Learning and Learners, reflects the urgent need for us to reflect on how to position the education system in a rapidly evolving global environment. Education faces a multitude of challenges globally, particularly from the technological innovations, inclusivity, climate change, globalization changes in production systems, and shifting demographic trends. In Africa, we are 1.4 million people. 70% are young. But we do more trade with the rest of the world than Africa. Intra-African trade is just about 30%. But Africa's trade with the rest of the world constitutes 70%. I want to ask you, is it just infrastructure that is a barrier to this inter-Africa trade? Or is education also a hindrance? How fast are we training our young people to embrace integration amongst themselves? Where is the position of language in our continent? Are we training each other to communicate with each other, or are we teaching Africans to communicate with the rest of the world and not communicate with themselves? Together with principals and other stakeholders, we have collectively made important national decisions that are shaping the future of Kenyans across the entire country. These include providing free basic education for all learners in public primary and secondary schools. Under this education model, the government provides capitation per learner to all schools. It also supplies textbooks and pays examination fees for all candidates. This learning model, which is being enhanced through the National Education Sector Strategic Plan for 2023 to 2027, to quality education, has lifted a huge burden off the shoulders of parents, guardians, and the community, who are left to provide meals, uniforms, and personal items to students. Moreover, it has enhanced equity in education access, thus empowering students from less endowed backgrounds. As we speak today, there are close to 100 million young people out of school in Africa. If you're looking at the conflicts in the Sahel region, right through the middle, and in other parts of the continent, we have over 100 million young boys and girls who are out of school. What will they become in the various stations that they are at this point in time? We have seen that in Africa, when there's conflict, a country can take even 40 to 50 years to recover. And even in our neighborhood here, in the Horn of Africa, where there has been conflict, the countries are yet to fully recover. So it seems that conflict is also helping us generate a lost generation. We are creating a lost generation.